I think yes, communication is very important skills to translate ESG sustainability message to my company, because a strong sense of purpose is essentials for committing to sustainability work, but it's I would say it can be strengthened through many preparations and practices. I need to coordinate with different departments and even talk to senior management, lead them to buy in about how I translate my ESG language to them, and then consider the perspective of from their department or stakeholders. For example, what do they need to hear to understand why ESG or sustainability is important to you, to your department, and even to the whole company, and what led our external stakeholders think it's worthwhile to invest for our company. So this is showing how my team and I to encourage them to get a sense of purpose around ESG, and then let everyone to be on the same page and towards sustainable business and planned with the planned ESG strategies.
Well, all right. Actually, I just experienced this like a few months ago. I just hired a quite young junior members to my team. But actually for myself, I look into more in soft skills. So first, communication, verbally, written. So I would say depends of, I just take myself, my company as an example, because we are multinational company. So I would prefer your English is at least, I can understand you when you verbally speak, you're doing presentation or you work in some sort of like holding events verbally, and then written at least. You don't need to be like professional because you graduate your first job. I don't expect you to be like a professional writing some like some master degree paper standard, but at least we can understand you. This is the first skill. And secondly, you will need to have sort of like a little bit like a sound understanding, background knowledge about sustainability. Like I said, I think sustainability is different in different industry and also different in as a different position. So you have a sound understanding, and then when you join the team, you keep learning. This is also my own experience as well. And then thirdly, I will looking into your understanding of this industry you are applying for. You work in sustainability, but also you need to understand this business, what the nature is, what is a stakeholder, what do you think this industry can have better improvement. So the last one I think is actually the most important thing is attitude, because for young generation, you know, it's the first job. Sustainability is not a easy role to work on, I would say. So I will look into the attitude, like, are you willing to learn? Are you willing to keep asking? Are you willing to put a lot of effort, time, energy to communicate, talk to people in a company, you know, even though maybe you don't know them, they are very senior, you're scared, it's your first job, but your attitude is positive, you think nothing is impossible. So I think these 4 elements what I'm looking for. I also maybe because my role is more not in a consultancy role, it's not that technical. So I won't like Joy. I know Joy from a very technical background, practical background, but for me, I'm really looking into soft skills more.
And look, this is not a shameless plug for you guys, and for all of you listening. You know, I was not asked to say this, but I will say this now. I think something like Matters Academy does help, right? You have organizations that are putting in place these training programs to get people up to speed on what sustainability is about. You have the resources at a university level, looking at Coursera, which are free training sessions. You can look at industry associations to get people up to date on what we should be looking at as well. There's a wealth of kind of free resources and readily available resources that anybody can look at. Believe it or not, I think that you can start with your own particular training right away. And there's likely, so for example, you can start Googling, let's say, company secretary, okay, and sustainability. You'd be amazed that even the company secretary, Association of Company Secretaries are starting to look at sustainability. And it starts to make sense because company secretaries care about governance. And part of sustainability, as I mentioned, ESG and P, governance is covered on there. For those of you who are in Hong Kong, you know that Hong Kong Stock Exchange is making Appendix 27 comply explain, and this is something that the board has to look at. So it's quite interesting. I would first start by simply Googling your particular training and add the word sustainability to see where this is developing. And you may be amazed at what resources are available.
Sure. So I'm a little bit biased. Coming from the engineering world, that's a good entry to sustainability. It certainly doesn't have to be an entry to sustainability, but what I like about it is it inculcates a very sort of systematic way of thinking and approaching problems. And it tends to give people a good quantitative grounding to be able to attack problems and say, okay, we're going to sort things into what's material and what's not. So that's one useful starting point for sustainability, but certainly doesn't need to be the only one. We just hired for an analyst position in the fall, and we did not select an engineer. So it can be any background as long as you have the project experience. And really, one thing I look for is a self-starter. I want to see evidence that someone is not just kind of looking at the screen and saying, okay, I have to do this, I go and do this, I have to do this, I go and do this. I'm looking for the kind of person that says either A, we shouldn't be doing this, and I think we should do X, Y, Z because of ABC, or they say, yeah, we could do this, but we can also take it to the next level. And I thought this was a neat extension that we could do. I want that kind of person that pushes beyond the status quo a little bit. And I want, that's always one of my interview questions. I ask, give me an example of you going beyond or above and beyond, because it was just, your nature, or you were really interested in the project or what have you. As far as practical skills, I really don't, I don't require or put a huge emphasis on any particular, master's program or anything like that. I do put an emphasis on project experience, but in particular, as far as training, lately there have been an explosion in training opportunities for young professionals in the sustainability field. So you can get training on virtually anything now, from the DEI side of things to GHG emissions quantification and assurance and verification, all across the gamut. So it's really, to me, I would recommend folks read 5 sustainability reports, look at the GRI content index, and figure out, whoa, that topic looks interesting to me. If whatever page you're flipping to first, maybe consider getting some training specifically in that area. And it's a very common motif in sustainability for someone to have a particular technical expertise in one area and a good general exposure in many areas. So for me, that area is GHG accounting and decarbonization. But I have exposure across environmental compliance and water and the social impact side. So anyway, I'll leave it there so we can hear from the other speakers, but there are a few ideas there. Thanks, Glenn.